When Linda asked me if I could contribute to this experimental archaeology conference, the experiment we carried out during our excavation of a mound enclosure complex in Misiones Province, Argentina, immediately came to my mind. To understand this experiment, I need to take you to the southern Brazilian highlands in southeastern South America and to the Taquara Itararé archaeological tradition, also known as the Southern Proto groups. This is an archaeological tradition that spread in what is today the states of Rio Grande do Sul, Santa Catarina, and Paraná in Brazil, and in Misiones Province, Argentina. In chronological terms, it spans for the last 2,000 years. Our study site is in Misiones Province at the PM01 site in the vicinity of El Dorado city. It is shown as number 1 in this slide. The southern protege are characterized by very particular ceramics with distinct decoration, the construction of pit houses, subterranean houses, in many cases forming villages, and mound enclosure complexes, usually located in prominent hilltops. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about the PM01 site, and in this slide, you can have a more detailed map of the site that represents a complex of mound and enclosure complexes. This is what remained of the site when we dug it in 2006-2007. You can see the geophysical map of the enclosure and the central part of the mound. The gray circles are the excavations, and in this presentation we are going to focus on the excavations that took place in the eastern portion of the site, marked with a red rectangle. What caught our attention when we dug the western portion of the rim were these discrete, regularly spaced, flat stone clusters that were located at the base of the rim and follow the contour of the enclosure. And as we can see in the photograph to the right, these stone clusters are filled with charcoal in between the cobbles. There were a few burned fragments of wood logs, a few unidentified burned bones, and ceramic fragments. We can observe here a top view of the excavations. Charcoal recovered in between the cobbles, which were dated to about 1250 AD, suggest a broad contemporaneity, at least for the earth ovens that were dated. Charcoal analysis by Mark Robinson show that in this section of the enclosure, they were using wood from jacaranda, belonging to the Bignoniaceae family. Southern Jê groups have a dual social organization. To put it simple, society is organized in halves. In this moiety system, all people, things, and phenomena are assigned to one of the halves in an all-encompassing classificatory systems. For example, jacaranda and monkey puzzle tree, Araucaria angustifolia, are related to the moiety associated with the west cardinal direction. The identification of jacaranda dominating the wood in the western earth ovens of the site matches the moiety associations and suggests a specific use of resources within a ritual determined by a dual social systems. El Dorado is not the only place where earth ovens were found. They are also found in other parts of the southern Brazilian highlands within mound and enclosure complexes. In this case, in the site SCAG-12, these stone clusters are located forming a crescent-shaped figure in between the rim and the central mound. The ceramics recovered at the site El Dorado are small. They are small vessels, small cups. The scale here is just 10 centimeters. We carried out phytolith analysis of the charred residue of the interior wall of the ceramics, and we recovered phytoliths derived from the glooms of maize. Our interpretation is that they were using these ceramics to serve a maize-based fermented beverage, likely a maize beer, commonly called chicha in South America. But the function of these earth ovens remain a mystery. For the previous excavators of the site, the stones represented a cobblestone paved path. Now, reading the ethnographic literature from the indigenous group of the region, we found out that the Kaingang use earth ovens that are very similar to the ones unearthed by us. Metro described them as follows. Earth ovens serve for baking large slices of meat, for example, tapir. A large pit is dug in the ground and lined with stone. A fire is built within the hole until the stones are glowing. The ashes and embers are then removed. The stones are covered with leaves, and the meat, carefully wrapped, is placed inside and buried under a thick layer of soil. 12 hours later, the meat is taken out, perfectly cooked. Looking at the archaeological literature, we also found that it's full of similar structure, both in North America and also in the tropical forests of French Guiana, where they date to 7,000 years before the present. Now, to better understand how these earth ovens work, we carried out a pilot experiment that I'm going to briefly describe in this presentation. So, we collected basalt cobbles from the nearby stream, similar to the ones from the archaeological excavation, dig an approximately 20 centimeter deep pit, and put them carefully at the base of the pit, trying to produce a flat level surface. A fire was lit on top of the stones with the wood available in the vicinity of the site. At the same time, we wrap a piece of beef, the top of ramp, in banana leaves, which are similar to heliconia leaves from the banana family used by indigenous groups. Once the wood fire was consumed, we remove it and we place the meat wrapped in leaves on top of the stones and cover them with dirt. In just 4 hours, while we continued digging the site, the meat was perfectly cooked. And in the last picture, you can see what remained of the oven. So, what are the reflections of our experiments? Well, with a very basic preliminary experiment while we were digging the site, we were able to replicate cooking in an earth oven with success. And well, this tells us that this was a ceremonial site where feasting took place by cooking food, likely game meat, in these earth ovens, and libations of maize beverage were ingested. This is our experiment, and I look forward to talking to you more about during our hotspots in the in this virtual conference. I would like to thank to all these organizations and people that make our work possible at El Dorado. And if you want to know more, please check out these publications and our website. Thank you very much again, and I'm looking forward to see you all at the conference.